You are watching WPTV.
Welcome back to the desk. WP basketball tips off next week, and Jesse, Chris, and Filip are here to preview the men's and women's seasons. Now, guys, the men's team lost a lot of playmaking. Their top 4 guards last year graduated. Jesse, let's run through some faces who you think could pick up the slack in playmaking for the men's team.
Yeah, to say we lost a lot of playmaking is an understatement. But when you look at some of the new players that we're going to bring in, we have Noah Basket, a transfer from Ramapo, who obviously won the NJAC championship last year. Anthony Uribe, who did not play last year, but actually played the year prior and averaged about 4 points a game as a freshman. And then we have Dominic Mignon, who averaged 5.3 points per game as the 6th man. It all depends on how you think the Pioneers are going to run the offense this year. Are we going to go with the guard-based, or are we going to run more through the forwards? My guy, I think they're going to move Dominic Mignon from small forward more to a point guard role, where he can handle the ball a lot more. We lost so much playmaking to graduation, and we need to see who's going to be able to handle the ball going forward this year.
Chris, what do you think?
Well, 2 years ago, 2016 season, we saw Anthony Uribe's playmaking ability on full display. He's also a really energetic player. He's people play off of him. So I think having him in the backcourt will really help, even if you run a 3-guard system with Mignon being the point, Uribe, and then a 3rd guard in there. I think that'll be the Pioneers' best chance at taking care of the ball.
You think small ball is the way to go, Filip?
At this point, I do. And just to touch up on the 3 players, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have enough experience to watch all 3 players. Mignon, obviously, last year had a great season. Uribe, I was here in his first stint with the Pioneers, which I don't think he really played enough, but when his minutes on the court were extremely effective. And tracing back all the way to high school, Noah Basket, a guy I went to high school with, got to watch him firsthand on the court. Amazing playmaker. If we're talking about playmaking ability and what we need on the court, Noah Basket's the guy. I mean, his ability to pass, he passes like Stockton out there. I mean, for sure, he's one of the guys to watch now that he's eligible to play this year.
All right, now switching courts to the women's team. They retained most of their top stars except for who we considered to be the team leader and MVP last year, Tori Wetzel. Chris Douglas, we'll go to you. I think front court play is probably the most crucial element for the Lady Pioneers. Talk us through some heavily featured players for this season.
Absolutely. Well, Tori Wetzel's shoes are not going to be easily filled. We have forwards like Carolyn Hill, who started 18 games last year. We have a freshman, Justina Cabezas, and she scored 1,000 points in high school. Bianca Soriano started in 4 games, had a lot of minutes last year. All 3 of these players are going to provide a boost in the front court, and rebounding is where they need to pick up, because I feel like you'll be able to replace Wetzel's scoring with some of the other veterans in the backcourt, but in the front court, you're going to need rebounding from this team.
Jesse?
It's hard to replace Tori Wetzel, as we said, MVP, a great leader, everything, but these players all have the ability to, at least by committee, replace what she brought to the team. I feel much more comfortable with the forward spot on the women's team, though, compared to the guard spot on the men's. I feel like the forward on the women's team is well enough and experienced enough that we know what we have going forward.
Phil, what do you think?
Honestly, I like that you added in Soriano in the mentions, because she had a very small sample size last year, but what I've seen from her was really good. Very, very strong in the post, great rebounder, which is very important to replace Wetzel. Adding a 1,000-point scorer in as a freshman is only another luxury. I'm looking forward to the season for sure.
Great. Now we'll keep it with you, Philip, and we'll keep it with the women's team.
Of course.
Definitely in a win-now mode, it seems, with 6 seniors on the roster. If we take a look at their early season matchups, their early schedule, what do they have to do early on? What's their expectations for the season?
Well, you pretty much narrowed it down for me. If you look at their first 4 games, they're definitely in a win-now scenario. They start their first game today away at Montclair, which is obviously a big game, Montclair University being one of our rivals. And yeah, the win-now thing is the biggest thing for me. Replacing Wetzel in the immediate sense might be a little hard, but they should recover, and I think they have the opportunity to be a win-now type team.
Any other games on this schedule, guys, stick out to you?
NJCU sticks out to me just off of last year. William Patterson women actually beat NJCU 96-14.
Yes, I remember that game very clearly. Actually, yeah, I remember that.
At the end of this 4-game stretch, I would like to see the women Pioneer at 3-1 at minimum. And on the year, as an expectation, I think they should be favored to win the NJAC. With this clear win-now mode, 6 seniors on the roster, they're my favorite going into the year to win.
Chris?
I like their chances against Montclair State, but Montclair State is one of the more experienced teams in the conference, and they have very, very skilled players. They always have for the entire time I've been here. That NJCU game is going to be something to look forward to also. I was on the call for that last year, and by the second half, I think it was 60-something to 2. I think the other team had 2 points at halftime. So.
All right, now on the men's side, obviously lost some key seniors. If we take a look at their early season schedule, Jesse, what do you see from the Pioneers team?
So when you look at the men's team, it's very similar to the women's schedule besides playing Baruch instead of Calabrini. But again, very similar. Opening up with Montclair is a very big deal away. Starting the season away is always a big deal, especially hard against Montclair State. But the men, it comes back to the playmaking. I need in these first 4 games to establish who the point guard is and what offense we're running and what our identity is.
Chris?
3 in-conference games. I like to see them go 2 wins out of those 3 games. It's going to be a rough start because they're going to have to learn how to take care of the ball, and they're going to have a brand new backcourt all the way through and through. So I like them to have a good chance against Baruch and then win 2 out of 3 of those conference games.
Filip, any long-term expectations for the Pioneer men?
It's hard to say because with so many new players, so many veterans on the team leaving, it's kind of hard to say. But as good as they were last year, I think with young talent coming in, they should really work towards their future. This is a great year to start their future. Hopefully, they can get a winning season this year alone. And I think next year and beyond is going to be even more spectacular.
Very interesting going into the basketball season for both the men's and women's teams. Of
course.
Yes. Good luck to all our Pioneers in the upcoming winter sports season. After the break, we'll drop the puck with the hockey crew.
Well done.